having to lie in bed for 45 minutes every morning waiting for your medication to kick in. Now that's just before you're able to get out of bed and walk to the bathroom. Parkinson's disease affects 8,000 Irish people. Many battle on a daily basis with everything that the rest of us take for granted. We're joined today by Dubliner Maggie Mullarney, who was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2004. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out. Now, you do look fab, I have to say, Maggie. You do really, really well. Take us back to the day you were diagnosed, because I know you actually remember the time.
I do indeed, yeah. I was diagnosed on the 10th of January 2004 at 18 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. So it's obviously a very significant date for me.
Did you look at your watch that moment, or how did that happen?
No, funny enough, when the neurologist told me that I was in the early stages of Parkinson's, I turned around because I actually thought that somebody had walked into the room and he was having a conversation with them, that he wasn't having it with me, and I noticed the clock. So the two things that came to mind were, one was that I was too young, I was 47, and the second thing was I didn't want to shake. And they were the only two things I knew about Parkinson's. Today I know an awful lot more about it.
Did you have telltale signs, though, looking back?
I did, actually, yeah. For the previous 6 months, I was very tired. I had pains in my back when I walked. My handwriting, which is a classic sign, had got very small, and I had a tremor in my left finger, or my right little finger.
Because Parkinson's essentially is a neurological condition, and the part of the brain that controls your movement is affected. Is that it in essence?
That's basically it, yeah. So the messages that come from your brain down to your hands and your legs to tell them to move, it gets clouded. That's kind of the simplest form or simplest way of telling it. The other thing is that people are really not aware of is there's a huge amount of non-motor factors, such as sleeping problems, fatigue, apathy is a big thing that came out of the World Parkinson's Congress last year. And
depression even?
Well, yeah. Depression is part of it as well, but apathy is kind of slightly different to depression.
Of course.
And that's what actually stops people getting out there to actually do things about themselves.
Because you just don't care, you're just lying around.
Exactly.
And you can't motivate or move yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, tell us about since the diagnosis and how your life has changed.
Well, since the diagnosis, my life has changed hugely. I have a regime now which is looking after myself, and also the medication that I take is really important. But it's not just about medication, it's about nutrition, it's about exercise, it's about anything that gives you a sense of well-being.
We're just looking at this here, and this is you literally, walking, trying to walk. Is that a typical morning without medication, or how do you describe this?
That's actually one of my better days of the bad movement, and that basically is when my medication doesn't work, maybe sometimes during the afternoon.
That can happen too, that the medication doesn't kick in.
Yeah, for various different reasons. You could be dehydrated, you could have eaten a meal that was too big, you could have eaten some protein. Protein affects my medication. So you wait then until it comes back on again. So for me, when I get like that, it's very hard for me to move around. And
I know that you have to take your medication on an empty stomach and 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's just for me. For everybody it's different, because this is very much an individual disease that affects everybody in different ways. So for me, I've got to take it 5 times a day and build my life around it.
Okay, now that's a pretty bleak picture, but through all this woman has emerged through all this and is now going to take part in the marathon. But I just want to bring you on to that, and a man called John Ball, who inspired you in an exercise regime. Now, we wouldn't know who he is, but he's written a book called Living Well, Running Hard, and he's an American guy that you met at a conference, or a Parkinson's conference in Scotland.
Right.
But he's developed an exercise regime himself.
Yeah. Well, basically I was inspired by him because first of all, I was doing good bit of exercise before I went to Glasgow, and egged on by my son, David, who's a physiotherapist, and he was very keen on me doing a lot of exercise, which has really helped. And then I met John Ball, and he told me that he had started to do marathons, and that had really helped him. So it's that forced exercise, it's like pushing yourself a little bit further. So I came back from Scotland and announced that I was doing the marathon, much to the shock of everybody. And I don't think anybody really believed that I was going to actually do it. But anyway, here I am. I've done 3 half marathons, and I'm doing a marathon on the 31st of October.
So you have to work out, obviously, to get your body strong. How often do you work out?
3 times a week. I work out with the trainer, Jason, and for about an hour and a half each time, and then I do a little bit of walking, and then I play golf. Okay,
so do you do weight-bearing exercises as well to strengthen your body?
Yeah, the whole thing certainly for Parkinson's is to do core exercises. So for me, the core is really important, and that helps you balance. and then it's weight bearing and walking and that.
I can see you there on the treadmill. The days that you are really bad, but when your medication works, you obviously can totally change, and we see you doing weight-bearing exercises and walking and doing all that. It's quite a transition, isn't it? That you don't know how you will be on any given day.
No, I'm glad I wasn't on here yesterday, because I spent most of yesterday afternoon off for the afternoon, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes it can just be something that'll trigger it. So that's really where the awareness comes in. It's really important that people understand what can trigger it, like food or water or various different things. And if people need information on it, it's really important that they get the information. And it's one of the things I want to bring about is empowerment, that people will start to empower themselves and not be relying on others to look after themselves.
And that's why you're doing the marathon, and you're looking for a bit of sponsorship for your clothes, because there's a few people doing it together. I believe about 10 or 11 of you doing
that's
it together.
Right,
so you're looking
right,
for that. So anyone out there who wants to sponsor some nice sports gear for Maggie and her friends, we'd be happy about that. We've got the information on our website. And I know that you've got your own blog spot, and it's called moveforparkinsons.blogspot.com. We'll also put that on our website for you.
Brilliant.
You're a very inspirational person, I have to say. It is quite amazing to think that you can do that. But as we said, you're training away and you're managing to do that. Do we have a piece of John Ball there? Do we have that, I think? We do. We're going to show this man we're talking about. This is John Ball.
I don't see any reason to do less. And so the more I push myself, the more I'm capable of doing, the more I'll do. And it seems that I look at other people who have Parkinson's who don't push themselves as hard, and they seem to lose ground faster.
Now that is John Ball, the man who inspired Maggie. He was diagnosed at 27 years of age. He got the symptoms, I should say, at 27, and he was diagnosed at 39. He ran his first marathon at 51, and to date has run 23 marathons. I'm sure you'll be right behind him.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm not so sure about the 23 marathons, but the one of them is enough, yeah. We've also got an information day coming up on the 28th of October in Wynn's Hotel, which is really important for anybody out there who feels that they'd like some information.
Great, or if you're even displaying any of those symptoms. Maggie, thank you very much for coming in. All the information will be on our website, of course, all the Parkinson's information. Just pop on rte.ie/4live. You can also take a look at our Airtel page, and that's 340. Now, I should